Long story short, Iran reached out and touched each one of them at least 5 times, maybe 7 times, maybe more. These places that shouldn't be hit, couldn't be hit, can't be hit, were hit.
Israel shot back at Iran. It was a rather small strike, so small that Iran is basically denying mostly that it happened, that it even happened. But here is Scott Ritter's take on this latest strike. We posted reports of an Israeli retaliatory strike on Iran appear to be related to a very limited attack in the vicinity of the Iranian city of Isfahan on military targets not related to Iran's nuclear program. The weapons used in this strike are unknown at this point, although Iran claims to have shot down at least 3 drones of an undetermined type. Israel has not taken public credit for the attack either. Indeed, the only link to Israel comes from anonymous statements from sources claimed to be U.S. officials. While Iran has stated, and by the way, I don't know if any of this, this was several hours ago, so if this has changed, if Israel has taken credit, then I apologize, but this was at the time of his writing. While Iran has stated it would strike Israel with immediate and decisive force if Israel were to attack, the extremely limited and anonymous nature of this attack may provide Iran with the opportunity to dismiss this attack as nothing of consequence, thereby eliminating the necessity of an Iranian retaliation, which seems to be where this is headed. The Iranian foreign minister has issued a statement about decisive retaliation at the UN, which constitutes official declaratory policy on Iranian deterrence policy, which may be deemed sufficient for the moment. If the action in Isfahan is the limit of the Israeli action, then this matter may be concluded. Israel, through back channels, was trying to get Iran to agree to allow them to do a little strike. Just let us bomb you a little so that we can tell our friends we did it. And Iran said no. This does seem to be what has happened, is Israel did a little strike so they could go, look, we got them back, at least in internal circles. It did nothing to Iran. In this whole thing, I mean, even if Israel had struck them much harder, striked them much harder, it still would have been a huge win for Iran in this, the calculations that are going on, the chess game that's going on. As Scott Ritter, and I won't go through all the details, but he went through all the details of how exactly Iran's 300 missiles and drones that were shot at Israel showed the capabilities of Iran.
Long story short, Iran reached out and touched each one of them at least 5 times, maybe 7 times, maybe more. These places that shouldn't be hit, couldn't be hit, can't be hit, were hit.
You might go, well, 99% of them were shot down. The ones that were shot down were the cheap, slow-moving drones with 4 countries working to shoot them down. U.S., France, Jordan, I think, shot some down. Maybe it was more than 4 countries. And the ones that actually got through were the faster missiles, which Iran did not shoot many of, which showed to Israel, oh, we can get through your missile defense anytime we want. And it really changed the entire equation. Scott Ritter was saying it changed the entire equation for much of the globe because it showed Iran can get through essentially any of these missile defense systems that are supposed to be so good and so amazing and can protect anyone. And that does not seem to be the case. So he calls it checkmate. And Israel's little pinprick attack that just happened that they haven't even taken credit for, it seems to be nothing more than them being like, now we can say we did it. We did the thing. We got them back, you know? It'd be like if one kid in a neighborhood beat the ever-living crap out of the other one, and then the parents got together and said, can you let the little kid just punch you in the arm so that he can go home and say, it was an even fight? And they're ultimately like, all right, punch him in the arm. And he goes, That seems to be what happened. I know Israel, if you look at the amount of weaponry they have, is not the little kid. But anyway, analogy still holds. But so this next article is coming from, and I bring this source to you often, this is a pro-Israeli liberal outlet in Israel, Haaretz. And they say Israel's muted strike on Isfahan shows Netanyahu has no strategy on Iran as well as Gaza. What Haaretz may not know is that it's not that Netanyahu has no strategy. I mean, well, he doesn't have a good strategy, but it's that Israel doesn't actually have the ability to do much to Iran. If they were to do much to Iran, Iran could hit them back so hard, it would be catastrophic to Israeli society. And that is not what Israel wants. That's not what the U.S. wants. Iran could also make oil prices shoot through the roof, which would be crushing economically for Europe, for the U.S., probably actually be quite good economically for Russia. There's a lot of equations going on here. And I just wanted to bring this to you because this is literally a pro-Israeli, inside Israel newspaper that's saying Netanyahu and the messianic Israeli regime that's committing genocide every single day in Gaza, over 34,000 innocent people killed, and that doesn't count those lost under rubble, 70% women and children, in case you need a reminder of that. I'm sure no one does. This messianic, right-wing, insane rulership of Israel has no plan other than ethnic cleansing. That is the extent of their plan. But I also want to make an important point that you could take that right wing, you could remove that whole right wing squad of maniacs out of the Israeli ruling elite. You could put in their slightly more liberal ruling elite or whatever, and not much would change. Maybe there'd be a ceasefire. That might be the big thing, but not a lot of what we consider repulsive about Israel and their apartheid state would change.